If I'm being honest, this was probably the worst year that I've ever had as a content creator, and oddly, one of the best years I've had as a person. And the reason both of those things can be true at the same time has drastically changed how I see everything, how I do everything. It's changed my perspective on how I live my life, how I work and create. Everybody in this online world tells you that growth just looks like progress. But what a lot of people don't see or understand is sometimes growth looks like losing a lot to figure out what actually fits and what should fit in your life. Now, what's the worst year look like for me? Well, this is the first year up until this last quarter that I didn't have really steady metrics. I didn't have a clear growth trajectory going upwards. Not only was it lower metrics, but it was fewer uploads. It was the inconsistency of uploads. It was the back and forth. Jesus Christ, the identity crisis that I had this year of just trying to figure out like what I should be doing. What is like the thing I'm supposed to be. I think the worst feeling that I got this year that I stumbled across for a period of time was the feeling disconnected from my own brand. And the worst thing about this shit is haters see that shit. Haters are the biggest analytical pocket watchers of all time. They will seek that shit out like a shark will see blood in the ocean. Even if you're doing better than them, the second you're not doing what you previously were doing it, they are all over that shit. And even though these last few months I've finally gotten the rhythm and really discovered a lot for myself from making these changes, on paper this year looks like a failure. It's one of the first years as a content creator after making so much momentum, I really feel like I took a step back. Now the inner conflict of this and why it hurts so much is the self-sabotage that causes some of this. You see, people will self-sabotage their growth because their old identities feel safer than the new ones. This is why anytime in your life, if you feel like you're really overcoming something, or you feel like you're really having a moment that you're breaking through, and you see these opportunities come on your plate, and you know you should be taking them, but you feel this like pressure inside of you, this deep thing in the back of your head saying like, oh no, this is too much. Don't go in too deep. This is because our brains prefer to feel familiar versus the discomfort in something they don't know, the unknown. Old habits that once protected you are now the same habits that are trying to hold you back. What's crazy about this is there were times this year where I almost pretended to be stuck, like confused as to what to do, but it wasn't like I was stuck because I didn't know what to do. And the reality is I've had this stuck feeling for a couple years, and a lot of us get this feeling. And the reason for this feeling is because at a certain point, you have to acknowledge that the old version of you just has to die. At a certain point, when you get to those moments where you are getting those breakthroughs, and then you start questioning, should you be doing it? Are you in over your head? Should you be taking this risk? It's those moments that we really need to slow down and acknowledge that that is life. Life is about growing out of the different stages of who you are as a person. I can almost guarantee anybody that's watching this video right now who are in their 30s, for example, you are a completely different person you were from coming into your 20s. Or if you're in your 40s now, I know for a fact that you can reflect and think back and be like, wow, yeah, I had a completely different mindset, personality, goals, everything from when I was 29 coming into my 30s. The thing that I had to learn this year and that we all have to understand is that we are wired to be like this. This is natural to have this internal battle in us every time we become a newer version of ourselves. I can assure you, I know it's intimidating, I know it's scary, but you gotta push through to that. You got to accept that you are moving on from the previous stages in your life, which is where this year became so good. The turning point, the process of elimination was fucking huge for me. I think a big thing for me this year was, instead of asking myself, what do I need to add to my plate? I started asking myself, what drains me of my time? What creates anxiety for me, but gives me no return? What am I doing just because I've always done it? After 10 years of doing this full time, this was the first year where I didn't want to like build up more. I didn't want to add to my creative resume. This year was just all about removing anything that doesn't align with me. Thankfully, this is a year that I realized like you just can't force certain content styles, right? You can't hold on to platforms or formats that you don't think fit in your perceived vision of what you're supposed to be building. Fuck, the big one was the relationships that I've had with like family and friends that had expectations for me that I just don't align with anymore. Like shit that's tied to the old version of me. And what's crazy about this is I've gone through this experience before. Earlier on in my 20s, when I realized that I wanted to pursue a lot of these things, I had to cut out a large chunk of my life that I grew up with, because those people didn't add to any benefit of me being the newer, better version of myself. And this year, it's almost like I've hit another stage of that. You know, I've hit another turning point. And I will definitely say that becoming a father has drastically changed so much of that. It's crazy how kids will change your perspective on anything. It's crazy how kids will change your goals on everything. There's this really good video that relates with this that I've seen lately, where this guy explains that sometimes the successful people that actually find true success, they're actually doing less, not more. They've created a process of elimination, like addition through elimination. One thing he really said in there that really fucking resonated with me, which was being busy is a choice. And I've realized that over the last few years. I'm a hard worker, and don't get me wrong, I know a lot of people use excuses. There's a clear difference between, you know, balancing your life and enjoying the things that you need to enjoy versus like just saying like everything doesn't give you the ability to do even the most minimal things. But I realized over the last few years, especially with some of the circle that I have around me, it's like this constant competition of like who's got more on their plate and who's able to manage more on their plate. Like that's really like the alpha shit. And what I've discovered this year, especially being a father, is a lot of that shit's not going to matter in the end. You know, when we're 60, 70, 80, and a lot of these years have passed, I would argue that maybe 60 to 70% of the things that we're doing now, most of those things aren't going to matter when we're older. At least for me, I can tell you right now that making sure I slowed down this year to spend more time watching my son grow, I would put millions of dollars on the line that in 50 years from now, I'm gonna think about those moments and not even stress about the fact that I didn't make 365 verticals this year, or I didn't stick to a strict YouTube schedule, or that I went on chaos mode and I deleted a whole bunch of shit and I tried new things and I started a new channel and I had some brand identity crisis. The reality is half this shit won't fucking matter. This is where I've read a little bit more into things and where I've learned that a lot of successful people eliminate instead of accumulate. What I've learned this year is successful people don't just manage their time, they eliminate time. They remove friction. They cut decisions. They remove emotions that drain them, that rob them of their ability to be them. They simplify their identity so their energy compounds in whatever it is that they're doing. They understand clarity over hustle. If you're running 100% of your time at just 40% of yourself, I don't think that outweighs the ability to run 70% of the time at 100% yourself. This year taught me that success isn't about doing more things better. It's about actually doing fewer things that really matter. And I'm gonna go back to the thing that I just mentioned, that like being busy is a choice. Being busy is an option. Because I think this is where I really differ with some of my peers and where I really wanna have like the influence with some up and coming creators out there. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some people out there that are wired to love that chase and love that time. Their idea of being busy is actually like inner peace. And I can relate with that. A lot of times when I'm dialed and focused, like even making this video right now, I feel a sense of peace. I feel a sense of joy because this is my worth as a person. I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, so it feels good. But what I've learned is for a lot of people, being busy often hides avoidance. Activity doesn't always equal progress. So you can just be doing things and say you're doing something. And it doesn't necessarily mean it's gonna get you something. Like you're filling your time with some kind of void to say, hey, my time's being filled, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's benefiting you. This is where I learned the big one, which is chaos can feel really productive because it delays hard decisions. And this ties so much to what I talked about at first with the self-sabotage shit. And this is the rut that I think so many of us get into. So when we get to those stages where we start self-sabotaging and we start getting scared of the new versions of ourselves and the fear of maybe outgrowing who you were and outgrowing relationships and goals and ambitions that you once had and you once strived for, and being scared that it was a waste of your time, even though it really wasn't. It was just a lesson. Being nervous that you might lose some of those friendships, you might outgrow them. As we start to self-sabotage, we put so much more on our plate and we get busier and busier. That's where we allow the chaos to blind our ability to make those hard decisions, to move on from those old versions. I realized this year that being busy wasn't my problem at all. Being busy was my escape, which led me into understanding that peace and happiness and clarity, the alignment of being the person that I really, really want to be, it doesn't come from adding more pressure. It comes from eliminating the noise, from fucking removing the bullshit. That's why this year oddly was my worst year as a content creator, but the best year as a human being that I've had in probably a decade. I didn't get to celebrate big milestones. I only traveled a few times this year to be with friends, and I really didn't get to embrace those moments feeling like I was on top of the world, but I developed a better mental clarity. I set healthier boundaries with things. I had more self-respect. I got a lot more confidence this year, not tied to numbers or work or like creative ability, just in being me as a person. Towards the end of the year, I just started creating for truth and for fun and for my personality instead of the idea of performance, besides maybe the rage bait shit, but that stuff is just so goddamn fun. This was a pivotal year because I didn't grow my channel. I grew the next version of myself that will grow the future of this channel. Here's a perspective I'd just like to end out on and something to think about. This is especially for a lot of the up and coming creatives and content creators that I know watch this channel, and even some of the dope creators that are absolutely killing it. Sometimes the version of you that wins and succeeds is the version of you that knows what to let go of. Not every year is for growth in every aspect of what you do. Some years are for an alignment. Like, consider it maintenance. Sometimes you just have to slow down and reinvest in making sure everything can run smoothly. For some of us, this year or next year could feel like a huge loss, but look at it as an alignment for the future version of yourself. Although this isn't my last upload of the year, I still just want to take the opportunity to say thank you. You know, whether it's the live streams or the live stream vertical highlights or these YouTube videos or just interaction and social media. There's so many of you that have been supporting me for years, and I don't ever take that shit for granted. I am actually very appreciative of that. As much as I meme and fuck around and banter, especially with the tight side of the community, I'm blessed to be in the position that I'm in. So let's lock it the fuck in for 2026, baby. That's all I got for you guys today. I'm out. Peace. Deuces.